Few names in history resonate with as much courage and determination as General Douglas MacArthur. A man of bold promises and even bolder actions, his story is one of triumph, resilience, and unshakable leadership. From the chaos of World War II to his iconic return to the Philippines, his legacy continues to inspire. But join us as we uncover the remarkable journey of one of the greatest military leaders of all time. Douglas MacArthur was born into a military family destined for greatness. He attended West Point, where he excelled beyond expectations, graduating at the top of his class. Known for his sharp intellect and unmatched discipline, MacArthur's time at the academy shaped him into the leader he would become. It wasn't just his academic excellence that stood out. It was his vision, his drive, and his belief in the power of leadership. MacArthur's career quickly soared as he rose through the ranks of the U.S. Army. During World War I, he demonstrated bravery and innovative tactics that earned him widespread recognition. His leadership on the battlefield was unmatched, and his strategies were hailed as revolutionary. By the time the world faced the turmoil of World War II, MacArthur was already a seasoned leader, ready to take on the immense challenges ahead. His ability to inspire troops and adapt to ever-changing warfare set him apart from his peers. In 1941, the Pacific became the center of conflict as Japanese forces advanced across Asia. MacArthur was stationed in the Philippines, tasked with defending the islands against overwhelming odds. The attack on Pearl Harbor marked the beginning of the Pacific War, and MacArthur found himself at the forefront. Despite limited resources, he rallied his forces, determined to protect the islands. His leadership was tested as never before, but his resolve to fight back was unshakable. The stage was set for one of history's most dramatic battles. As Japanese forces overwhelmed the Philippines, MacArthur made a daring escape. Boarding a PT boat under cover of darkness, he fled with his family and key personnel to Australia. It was here that he made his famous promise, "I shall return." These three words became a rallying cry for Allied forces and a beacon of hope for the Filipino people. But MacArthur's vow was not just a declaration, it was a mission. From his base in Australia, MacArthur began formulating a plan to retake the Philippines. Every detail was scrutinized, every strategy debated. The stakes were high. Failure was not an option. Working closely with Allied commanders, he orchestrated a series of coordinated attacks across the Pacific, each designed to weaken Japan's hold on the region. As the months passed, the promise, "I shall return," became a driving force for his troops. It wasn't just a military operation, it was a personal commitment to honor his word. The Battle of Leyte Gulf, the largest naval battle in history, marked the turning point in the Pacific War. MacArthur's forces launched a massive amphibious assault to retake the Philippines. The battle was fierce, with heavy losses on both sides, but Allied forces pushed forward with unwavering determination. This victory was not just a tactical achievement. It was a message to the world that MacArthur's promise was within reach. The liberation of the Philippines had begun, and the tide of the war had shifted. On October 20, 1944, General Douglas MacArthur waded ashore on the beaches of Leyte in the Philippines, fulfilling his iconic promise. With cameras capturing the moment, he declared, "People of the Philippines, I have returned." This was not just a military victory, but a deeply symbolic moment, rekindling hope for the Filipino people. The sight of MacArthur, resolute and unwavering, became a defining image of the war. His return was a testament to his commitment, a moment that the world would never forget. The liberation of the Philippines was far from over. The Battle for Manila, one of the most grueling urban battles of World War II, tested MacArthur's forces to their limits. The city was devastated, but the resolve of Allied forces prevailed. Civilians and soldiers alike paid a heavy price, yet their sacrifices were not in vain. For MacArthur, each step forward was a step closer to fulfilling his promise of freedom for the Philippines. This was more than a battle. It was a fight for justice and liberation. After months of relentless fighting, the Philippines was finally liberated. The people celebrated, waving flags and cheering as Allied forces marched through their towns. For MacArthur, this was a moment of profound pride and vindication. He had kept his word, proving that resilience and determination could triumph over adversity. The liberation marked the beginning of the end for the Japanese occupation in the Pacific. For the Filipino people, it was the dawn of a new era, one defined by hope and freedom. With the tide of war turning against Japan, the Allied forces secured victory in the Pacific. On September 2, 1945, aboard the USS Missouri, Japan formally surrendered. MacArthur presided over the ceremony, his words solemn yet hopeful. These proceedings are closed. This moment marked the end of World War II and the beginning of rebuilding a shattered world. For MacArthur, it was the culmination of years of sacrifice and strategy. The general who had once promised to return had now overseen a global victory. After the war, MacArthur's leadership extended into rebuilding Japan. As supreme commander for the Allied powers, he implemented reforms that transformed the nation. His policies promoted democracy, economic growth, and stability, laying the foundation for modern Japan. Despite his military background, MacArthur's approach was one of reconstruction and reconciliation. His post-war efforts showcased his ability to lead not just on the battlefield, but in the complex realm of politics and diplomacy, solidifying his legacy as a global leader. MacArthur's life was defined by service, sacrifice, and an unrelenting pursuit of excellence. From the battlefields of World War I to the shores of Leyte and the rebuilding of Japan, his influence spanned continents and generations. His leadership inspired millions, and his actions shaped the course of history. Even today, his legacy endures as a symbol of courage and commitment. MacArthur was not just a general, he was a leader, a visionary, and a man who kept his promises, no matter the cost. The story of General Douglas MacArthur teaches us the power of leadership, resilience, and keeping one's word. His journey reminds us that great leaders inspire through action, not just words. As we reflect on his legacy, let us strive to uphold the values of integrity, perseverance, and dedication in our own lives. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible tales of history and leadership. Together, we can keep these legacies alive for future generations.